So, let's talk about domestic violence, homeless shelters, or just homeless shelters in general. So, I don't want to come on and trauma dump, and I have so many story times, but I want them to come up organically. So, I thought since we're talking about domestic violence and the two-way street and why don't women just leave, I want to give you a little glimpse into what leaving is like. And while I have been incredibly lucky that I have not been in a domestic partner relationship, I have dealt with family violence and interpersonal violence. So, I have been homeless for what reasons, regardless, but my first time. I came to Sydney after having my front door kicked in because I got to the point where it was something was going to happen or I was going to hurt myself. So it was just like, I need to get away. And I was incredibly lucky. I had private health insurance. So I came to Sydney and I went to rehab. And I gave myself the time out to be able to do that. But that is very, very rare. And then after that, I didn't have anywhere else to go. And going back just wasn't the option. So I packed up my stuff. I was incredibly lucky that my country, especially my state, has funded. So in Australia, we have 28 days of funded, emergency shelter for homeless people. Then that's at the emergency level. Then there's other levels. So at the emergency level, you would call the emergency line and then they would connect you with a shelter if there was availability. So if there was availability, they kind of do a bit of an induction phone call just to kind of gauge where you're at, what you're dealing with, and if they can help you right now. I was incredibly lucky that I was accepted. And I went, and you have to do it very secretively because for the other women's safety, not just your own, you can't tell them anybody where you are, even the government with Centrelink, everything like that. You have to go through PO boxes. You are allowed no visitors. The one that I was at was very visually secure, which was good. And that really helped make everybody feel safe. But when you're within the shelter, so the emergency is for 3 months. So within that time, you pay rent, you have chores, daily chores and weekly chores. You have a curfew. I don't remember, but I think it was around 9 p.m. And even work would disqualify you. You had to be doing, you kind of had an agreement. You couldn't drink, you couldn't take any substances. But when you're within that shelter, you have one bathroom. You share it with everybody. But because these shelters aren't just domestic violence shelters, they are just homeless shelters in general, you see a lot of shit. And you see a lot of people that are very, very unwell. You get things stolen. You have to lock every door behind you. You have to lock everything. I've seen an OD. I've seen people walking around with bruises. I've seen people having manic episodes. And that is just in that time. It is not fun. It's not inviting. It's not comfortable, and it is not safe. It does not feel that way. And while I see it as incredibly lucky because there are a lot of people that don't have that, especially in other countries that don't have that, but it is incredibly traumatic just being there. And the things that you see that you didn't have to see will make you think, maybe they won't do it again. Maybe this is the time. Maybe if I go home, I can save a little bit. But even if you look at the reality of not going to a homeless shelter nowadays, and I'm just going to do it as a single person, because how do you do that with kids? Like, there are shelters that are specifically for women and kids, but like I said before, these are not just domestic violence shelters, these are just homeless in general. You do not know someone's criminal history, you do not know their drug history, you do not know, like, it's chaos. And every day you have to go to housing, every day. Like you're a criminal. And that's how it can feel. You have rules, you have chores, you're being punished to share like a child again, and your abuser could be just in their home. It feels horrible. And it takes a lot of hard work, patience, and strength to do that and to leave, to get through that. So, it is not a two-way street, because leaving in our society, just with our rental market, it's impossible. So many people are locked in relationships and they're unhappy because they can't afford to leave without DV. And then add DV in as well. It's horrible. And it's something that we can't ignore, and you can't just say, it's a two-way street, you should just leave. Because it's not that easy. It's fucking hard. And you're put in that position through no fault of your own. Staying in a relationship or getting into a relationship is not your fault. Choosing the wrong partner isn't your fault. That person doing crimes against you and abusing you, that is all them. All them. 100%. And it's so unfair that we're even having this conversation when women are dying every week. So, story time.